Hi, this is Allan, founder of My Yoga Stream and the creator of high performance energy through yoga, qigong, meditation, and acupressure. And today we are very honored to have Sarah, who is also the author and public speaker, and you're also a former Marine captain.
Yep.
Right. So very fortunately to have Sarah, who's one of our everyday hero, speaking with us today. So Sarah, how did you get into the Marine Corps? I mean, you're such a young age and you're a captain?
I was a captain several years ago, so
wow.
I've been out of the Marine Corps for a little while now. But,
okay.
My journey to getting into the Marine Corps, there's a story there, of course. I was raised in a military family. My father was in the Air Force, and although I was the youngest of 4 children, I was the only one of my siblings to go into the military. And I actually started out in Air Force ROTC at college at the University of Virginia. And but I used to just play around with the Marines for fun at school. I would go do some of their training. I'd go on their hikes and put on, the heavy rucksacks and, put on the pack and go hike through the Charlottesville mountains. And I started to joke around with my parents and say, "Oh, well, what if I went into the Marines?" And they were just like, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean, no?" They were never like that direct. They were usually very encouraging of whatever we wanted to do. So for them to just say no, I thought that was kind of strange. But I think God had a different plan for me. And this summer between my second and third year in college, when I was at Air Force field training, my left hamstring pretty much snapped in half. And I felt like God was literally like, if I have to break your leg to get your attention, to tell you this is not where you're supposed to be, because I had to leave training.
Okay.
I linked up with one of my best friends from childhood, had a very spiritual experience with her and some of her peers, and which included basically feeling like I had a calling to go into the Marine Corps. So I switched programs,
wow.
which was a long process and had to put a lot on the line to do it, but ended up eventually switching services.
So you gave all your experience in the Air Force ROTC to come into Marine Corps. So you had to put a lot on the line.
I had to give up I had a full ride scholarship to school.
You had a full ride scholarship.
And they said, we're going to take your scholarship away. We're going to enlist you in the Air Force. You're going to have to pay back everything we already paid. And you're not going to get to... And I was training to be a pilot at that time. I was doing some Civil Air Patrol flight training in college. And I pretty much told the Air Force colonel and the Marine Corps major, no, we're going to figure out a way to do this. I still want to serve. It's just a different branch. Let's figure it out. And spent my entire junior year in college doing Air Force ROTC, Marine Corps ROTC, Navy ROTC, Marine Corps PLC, working because I knew I was going to lose my scholarship, still playing soccer, and deciding to double major in religious studies on top of sociology and military history, which didn't really count as another major, but we have to take so many classes, and it practically is.
Well, you're like...
So it was a little busy. I didn't really sleep, but it was all right. But I knew...
Talk about an overachiever here.
It's been my touchstone decision. I'm 31 years old now. At 19, I was so sure. And it wasn't even about rebelling. It was just, I knew with every essence, every fiber of my being that I was just supposed to be in the Marine Corps. I didn't even know why. It wasn't a crusading sort of thing, but it was a spiritual thing. That was just where I was supposed to be.
Okay.
So.
And you've done 2 tours on Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a message you can share out with the soldiers out in Iraq and also the soldiers that came back, what are some of the inspirational messages you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, well, for starters, they can find some of it at my website, sempersarah.com, and at my blog there, I do write quite a bit about some of my experiences in Iraq, and I've had soldiers and Marines who are currently deployed write to me who've read those blogs now, even though they're about my experiences years ago, and saying, I wish someone had this perspective while I was there, talking about basically making the choice to be happy when it didn't make sense to be happy. Not that I was all the time. Certainly while I was in Iraq, it was my second deployment was particularly difficult. But in retrospect, looking back and what I've done with my life moving forward has inspired people who are even still there now just deciding what am I going to do with my life. Like maybe these traumas or difficult things have happened, and those aren't my fault, but it is my choice and my power to say, how am I going to move forward from here? And I think that's a simple thing, but not easy, but really hits home for a lot of people.
Absolutely, and what you're doing is truly inspiring. Because I mean, I was in the Army myself, and I was in basic training. Even though I never got deployed because I joined right after the first Gulf War. But just getting a letter from a family member, from friends at basic training, that was such a huge moral support. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine where you're deployed in Iraq, having the support that you have here now for them is going to really help boost that morale and mm-hmm. give them an ounce of inspiration that can carry out their day.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
So then, after Iraq, you became a yoga instructor. So how did that work out?
Yeah, well, on my second deployment, part of the backstory is actually at the very beginning of my career, I was sexually assaulted. I was raped by another Marine. And that was something that I felt like I had personally dealt with. Eventually, again, it was a process. But fast forward from that experience, about 4 years later was when I was on my second deployment in Iraq. Due to some other things that were going on, somehow that past ended up getting drawn back into the current problem. So it was a very confusing situation. And I had dabbled in yoga before. I'd practiced off and on for probably about 6 years or so before that. I'd been an athlete in college. I'd been a soccer player. And had used, yoga to sort of cross-train for injuries. Anyway, on this second deployment, I found myself popping in a yoga DVD that one of my staff sergeants had given me on my first deployment. Done that a few times, but didn't fall in love with it or anything. But on this second deployment, it saved me. I mean, I had an epiphany on the mat one day that this suffocation and just drowning feeling I had with everything else that was happening. Every area of my life there was not one area of my life untouched by the drama and the trauma that was happening at that time. And that space on the mat, I could breathe. Literally, it's that simple with the breath, which I didn't know then, but I know now as a yoga teacher how important breath is, and that it is literally that simple, and that is yoga. Yoga isn't even the movement. It isn't the asanas. It's the breath. And it's the preparation for meditation. And I didn't even know that that's what I was doing then. And so when it hit me on a spiritual level, and I feel like really saved my life in a really dark time, moving forward, I started to practice a lot more. And I knew I wanted to bring that to other people, in particular survivors of sexual assault, people coping with post-traumatic stress disorder, people coping with depression. Because I feel like I had a lot of options, a lot of medication thrown at me, and I didn't take it, and that yoga was that medicine for me. And so I decided, I picked up and went down to Costa Rica and did an intensive yoga teacher training down there, and literally the day I got back from Costa Rica, started teaching, and loved it. I've been teaching ever since, and have been teaching for free to veterans. As well as, at studios and running my own classes. I like to do it outside, outdoor yoga. Yeah. So. And
who was the yoga teacher that you took the DVD from, or who taught the yoga DVD?
The DVD that got me hooked on yoga was Shiva Ray Yoga Shakti.
Get out!
Yeah.
Shiva Ray is one of my favorite teachers.
I love Shiva Ray. Oh my gosh, to ever meet her in person one day would be incredible. She's been a rock for me, without even knowing it. Like, that was just my go-to DVD, and it still is to this day. Like, I can sort of go when I need to kind of go to that place, and it's a comfort, even though she does such advanced poses and postures. She gives the options there too, it's great. Yeah. So it was really good for me as a new student, actually, to grow my practice through that too, because she did offer the levels within that particular DVD, but yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I've taken her live classes before.
Oh.
Yeah, her retreats.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is she wonderful in person?
She is one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah.
So thank you, Shiva Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Shiva Ray.
Yeah.
You rock.
Yeah. So, it sounds like you went through all these trauma in your life, and, just getting to meet you, and you seems like a very positive person. I can just feel this vibe. I don't know if it's shown off camera or not. Just Sarah's just this amazing woman who's gone through a lot in her life, and yet I can feel her strength through it all. If there's one message you'd like to share with our audience to inspire us after all the traumatic events you've been through, what would that be?
Well, the cornerstone of one of the things that I teach, like I already said, sempersarah.com, but I have that because Semper is an acronym for what I think are the 6 principles. There's actually 7 because the first one's faith before that, but number 1 in that acronym, it's these 7 principles that you need basically to be happy, healthy, and successful, I think, in any area of your life, especially as a survivor. But that first one, the S, is sincere, and it's always be sincere. So authenticity, I mean, absolutely number 1 as a leader, like as a survivor in physical fitness, even being authentic about how you decide to practice yoga. Anywhere, authenticity can be applied anywhere. And then you can't be happy and you can't be fulfilled and satisfied and at peace if you're trying to be someone else, I think, on any level. And so that's kind of number 1. But then larger than that, one of the things I say all the time is live the life you love the life you live. Just roll with it. And ultimately making the choice not to make light of it by saying just roll with it, but to move forward, making the choice to whether that's happiness, health, or success, to go on with your life because you still have a life to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sarah, listen, thank you so much for spending your time with us and inspiring us today. Yeah. So for more information and for more free videos, feel free to sign up at myyogastream.com by entering your name and email address. And if you love us, feel free to click like on our Facebook page. Thank you so much. Yeah. So until then, live your dreams. Love unconditionally. Journey with your heart by spreading love and joy. To lie within me, to lie within you. Namaste.